Hey guys, in this video, we are going to be looking at 5 different IDEs that, thanks to VS Code, now they're obsolete. So let's get started.
She want me to lock it down, but I told her to pass the key. You gotta slow it down, girl, you moving too fast for me. Nobody did it like this, so they wonder, they asking me if I can slow it down, cause it's coming too fast for me. I came up from the bottom, now look at me now, they mad at me. I cannot slow it down, cause it's coming too fast for me.
Alright guys, it's your boy Joe back at it again, CodingPhase.com. Your boy's back and out and did it again one more time. Listen guys, before we even move on to talk about the IDEs that VS Code said, yo, get them up out of here, right? VS Code is the shit, guys. Everybody loves VS Code. But before we get into it, let's talk about what exactly is an IDE. So an IDE is pretty much a text editor, a place where you get to write your code. You can sometimes even compile your code directly from your IDE. You can debug your code. You can get features like syntax highlighting, meaning like, hey, if I'm writing PHP, I want to get the right highlighting instead of getting the HTML highlighting, or instead of JavaScript highlighting, is going to go specifically to that specific language, right? Which is super helpful, especially when you're writing down your code. At the same time, it also helps you out with autocomplete and a whole bunch of other things, man. So that's what a modern IDE really is nowadays, okay? And that's pretty much what VS Code is, okay? Right now, VS Code is the #1 IDE in the world right now. So yeah, man, there's a reason why it's #1. They've taken everybody out. So the first one that we're going to talk about is Notepad++. So Notepad++ is a super old IDE. It's been around for a very long time. It was really created around September 2003 by a guy named Don Ho, right? And this was just a open source type of guy, right? One of those guys that create tools for all of us to use. Now, Notepad++ has been really popular for the Windows users. It's been around since like the beginning of time, we could say. I mean, 2003 is not that long. There's definitely older editors out there, but this one is one of the most popular. Like, this one is global. Like, you could go to China, you could go to Colombia, you could go to Mexico, you could go to Europe, somewhere in the UK, somewhere in Italy, like literally everywhere in the world. This has been used at some point, okay? And to be honest with you, this is another one that VS Code said, get them up out of here. You know what I mean? Like, Notepad++ is out of here. I mean, if you're using this in 2020 and beyond, like, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Like, this doesn't have not even half of the extensions or even the features that something like VS Code has. So there's a reason why right now it's obsolete. Okay, the next one that we have here is Dreamweaver. If you guys have never heard of Dreamweaver, pretty much it was super popular in the early 2000s and also to early like 2010s, around there. There was still some people that were using it. Dreamweaver has been around for a very long time. The original company that created this IDE was in 1997 by Macromedia. Now, if you guys don't know about that company, that's a company that basically created a whole bunch of tools for everybody. We're talking about things like Illustrator. We're talking about Fireworks. We're talking about, if I'm not mistaken, even Flash. Like, they created a lot of things out here, man. Now, Dreamweaver is super popular in companies that use CodeFusion because it has a lot of tools that's integrated for that whole ecosystem of CodeFusion in the language. But nowadays, nobody uses this, okay? I'm being honest with you guys. Like, I don't know when was the last time I heard anybody like, hey, spin up that Dreamweaver. Like, nobody uses that, bro. Like, this is a software that right now is pretty much on his dying bed right now. Is, his last breath. Like, there's nobody that's excited about Dreamweaver. Nobody's using this at all. Only companies that use this is companies that have been around since like the 90s and early 2000s, where they have a lot of things integrated into it. And at the same time, they have a lot of older developers or even, content editors who only know how to use Dreamweaver. So they still got to use it. You get what I'm saying? So regardless, but nobody's talking about Dreamweaver. But again, this is another one that, good old VS Code could say, we got him up out of here. Okay. So definitely, RIP to Dreamweaver. Nobody's using this, bro. Since we're talking about products from Adobe, let's actually continue with brackets. So brackets, to be honest with you, I really love this text editor. This was amazing when it came out. This was like, something that has never been done before. It had extensions, it had, syntax highlighting, it had a whole bunch of features. It even had a live server, like one button live server. That's it. You had your auto refresh, auto reload. Everything already was set up for you. When brackets came out, I thought this was the future. I still feel like, man, Adobe dropped the ball like big time, right? Adobe really dropped the ball with brackets, because this right here was gonna be a really great text editor, and all they needed to do was just work on it a little bit more. But you know how Adobe is. Adobe doesn't want to do anything for free. They're like, hey man, if we're gonna work on something, y'all gotta pay us for it. Okay. So from my understanding, when they created brackets, it was like a lone wolf from Adobe who say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we created a light text editor? And then Adobe was like, okay, we'll let you rock, but once it starts getting popular and we start bringing in more people, we're gonna stop it and tell them, hey, go sign up to our subscription. Okay, so that's from my understanding what happened with brackets. But again, this was a very promising text editor. I thought it was gonna be around for a long time too, man. But yeah, man, this is another one that VS Code got him up out of here. All right, now the next text editor that VS Code just killed, and I try to hold on to this one for a long time, right? Some of you guys really know that I try to hold on, man. And it was Atom, right? So Atom was an IDE that was built by the guys at GitHub, man. And this was the text editor that changed the game. It was very light, okay? But it had one problem, right? It was built with Electron. And then on top of that, for whatever reason, like you open up Atom and Atom eats up your whole memory of like your RAM. It's like you could have 16 gigabytes of RAM and Atom is like, hold on. Oh, you got 16 gigabytes free? Let me get 14 of those. Like, like for real. Like there will be times you'll be like, I just opened up one tab. What's going on? Why does it say 12 gigabytes of RAM being used right now? And I don't know what happened. They dropped the ball on this. But to be honest with you, if it wasn't because of Atom, there wouldn't be a VS Code. Okay, so we have to give credit where credit is due. So whoever created Atom and that team, guys, thank you, because you guys really helped out the community a lot. But to be honest with you guys, that problem with the memory leaks and all of these problems that you guys had, y'all needed to fix this, okay, ASAP. Okay, I understand some of you guys wanted to keep it with Electron. Y'all should have just, invested a little bit more money and maybe walked away from Electron or does something. I don't know what you guys could have done, but y'all could have done something, because this was an amazing text editor. Like all of the different plugins and extensions that it had, like they were the reason why people were using Atom. And even till this day, I'm like, man, I wish they could come back with Atom, because to be honest with you, I like VS Code, but I'm not the huge fan that you guys might think I am. Like I'm not super big with VS Code. I use it because it's good and I like it. I don't like the design style. I don't like how it really looks. Certain things, the settings, I'm not really big on it, but it is what it is. You get what I'm saying? They definitely got Atom up out of here. I remember seeing like a couple of Indian developers on my comment sections like, Joe, I can't be using this text editor. It's eating up my 4 gigabytes of RAM. And I'm like, bro, like this is the text editor I use. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I used to love Atom, man. But then at some point, even I myself with like 16 gigabytes, then I went into my other computer that had 32 gigabytes. And I'm like, how is this eating up 25, 26 gigabytes of RAM? Like, what's going on? You get what I'm saying? So definitely they dropped the ball. And then, of course, Microsoft, from my understanding, bought into GitHub and that whole process, that whole company, right? And at the end of the day, like, they're already working on VS Code. They're not gonna have another team working on Atom. So they're like, hey man, let's let this thing die out. Okay. Even though they say that they're doing like some updates and this and that, like, bro, this shit is dead. Now, the next text editor that VS Code got up out of here was Coda 2. If you guys have never heard of Coda 2, Coda 2 was super popular at some point, especially with us Apple users, right? Mac users, right? Like, this was huge. This was like a game changer. Like, hey, you could do a SAS, like it could compile the SAS for you, or hey, there's syntax highlighting, there's this and that. Like, they're like, now thinking about it, I'm like this is like the basic features of a text editor. And I remember people will be like, I'm so excited, I could compile my SAS through it, and hey, there's different things that we can do. I'm like, hold on, I'm like, everybody can do that now. Like, why would you use something like Coda 2? Like, straight up, like, I know they say, oh, you could use it for the SSH, you could SSH into the server and use Coda 2 to go in there and work on the code, etc. But it's like, there's an extension for that on VS Code, bro. And again, you gotta pay for this. Okay, this is not free. Only $100. Okay, it's like, and I understand. I'm one of the peoples that I believe that you gotta support the developers and you gotta pay for it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't have enough features or things that will make you think like, damn, man, it's worth $100. Like, it's actually a very beautiful text editor. But just because it's beautiful doesn't mean that it's worth the money. Because if you were just writing code, like, you don't need to have something beautiful. You just need something that writes the code and gives you the features that you need. That's it. But Coda 2 got it up out of here. Now, as a bonus, right? As a bonus, we already went over 5. We said Notepad++, we got Dreamweaver, we got brackets, we got Atom, and then we did Coda 2. So that's 5, guys, right? So you might say, damn, the video's over? Not yet. I'm going to give you guys a bonus. Okay, so Panic, the same company that created Coda 2, now they're dropping Nova. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this one's out of here before it's even popular. This one's out of here, bro. Like, if it's free, people are gonna use it because I tested it out. It's a good text editor, but at the same time, it's missing a lot of features, right? You need to get the community to start creating extensions for this freaking text editor so it could become popular. Now, the problem of this is also that, hey, by the way, you also got to pay for this. So Nova costs $100, just like Coda, right? They could have just called this Coda 3. I don't know why they didn't just call it Coda 3. It's pretty much the same thing, okay? But they're like, hey, if you want to upgrade for $79, right? We can upgrade to Nova. It's like, bro, just call it Coda 3, okay? But again, you gotta give us more features and more things that makes it worth it. And you could say, you know what? It's worth the money, okay? Right now, I feel like there's so many different extensions, so many different themes, so many different things that people have created within the ecosystem of VS Code, right? That right now, to switch up to another text editor, and you gotta pay for it. Like, I could go ahead and throw $100 at this thing and it's not gonna hurt my pocket. But a guy that just started learning how to code that could barely pay for a $20 monthly subscription to a website, or basically buy a $10 Udemy course. There's people complaining for $10 courses, okay? That's $10. So imagine this. If they're able to say, you know what, I'm complaining about this, you think they're not gonna complain about this $100 freaking price on something that is not different than, something like VS Code? It doesn't bring anything new. Like, people are not gonna pay for this. I will understand if it was something like WebStorm and most of the things that JetBrains have created. Like, these are amazing IDEs. Like, they're worth the money. And usually the people that pay for it is professionals. This is not the average guy that's just learning how to code on YouTube. The people that are paying for this most of the time is usually guys that are making big time money already. Okay. And at the same time, this is also for companies that say, you know what, we want to have the same IDE and we're willing to pay for this for our developers. You get what I'm saying? But I don't think there's a company out there that'll be like, well, you know, guys, let's all use Nova. I'll pay for your Nova subscription or your Nova payment or whatever. And this is crazy. This is like includes 1 full year in updates. So it's like for 1 year, you're not even buying the product itself. You're just paying for 1 year, $100. And it's like, what am I getting for this? Okay. And I'm not trying to shit on Nova before it even becomes a thing, but this is my bonus. VS Code got this one out of here before it even started. Okay. So anyways, man, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you leave a like, right? Leave a comment below. Just tell me which text editor do you use right now? Which one do you enjoy? Which one do you love? Okay. Right. And also, if you still don't even have a text editor, just leave the letter J. Say, this is the letter J for my boy Joe. All right. I'm going to see you guys later. It's your boy Joe back at it again. CodingPhase.com. Make sure you check out the other videos that you are seeing on the screen right now. Peace.